The Obama administration illegally spied on Team Trump, first during the campaign, then during the transition, and well into the first year of his presidency. In October 2016, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court was presented a search warrant application from the Justice Department and the FBI. They claimed to have evidence of Russian influence in the Trump campaign. The FISA court approved the search warrant, not knowing it had been misled. Here's an 8-count indictment of the government's case. The FISA court was not told the main evidence was political opposition research, the so-called Trump dossier. The court wasn't told it was paid for by the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party. That FBI Director Comey described it as salacious and unverified. That the information was never corroborated. That the British spy, Christopher Steele, who wrote part of the dossier, was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected. The court was not told. Nor was the court told that the FBI fired Steele as a source because he revealed his FBI ties to the media. Here's another fact kept from the court. DOJ official Bruce Orr's wife Nellie worked for Fusion GPS, the firm commissioned to write the dossier, and that she gave him the dirt on Trump, who then funneled it to the FBI. Finally, the government presented Michael Isikoff's Yahoo article as corroboration of the dossier. The article cited concerns about Carter Page, a Trump campaign worker, and his Russian connections. But the court wasn't told that the phony dossier was the source of the story. This 4-page House Intelligence Committee memo revealed how the FISA court was misled.
Phase 1 of our investigation was to look at the FISA abuse. So we very simply said, look, the court didn't know that the Democrats paid for this. Now, remember, this is an investigation into the other campaign. I would think a judge would need to know that.
Nunes sent Representatives Trey Gowdy and John Ratcliffe, 2 experienced former prosecutors on his committee, to review the FISA documents.
It's up to the government to make full disclosure, and in this case, in asking for a warrant against someone associated with the Trump campaign, disclosure was not made.
There's a reason the affiant swears to the truthfulness of the underlying information. Judges can't then go research and say, well, gosh, I wonder if Chris Steele knew this all himself, or I wonder if he was relying on hearsay from subsources in Russia. That's not the judge's job. It is the FBI and DOJ's job to present full, credible information to the courts.
The court not only approved the warrant, it later okayed 3 90-day extensions, never knowing the full story.
You would think somehow, someone, somewhere would say, hey, we better go tell the FISA court this. They didn't do it the first time, they didn't do it the second time, they didn't do it the third time. In fact, they didn't even do it the 4th time.
FBI Director James Comey signed 3 of the FISA warrant applications. Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe signed 1. At the Department of Justice, they were signed by Sally Yates, Dana Bente, and Rod Rosenstein. Each was a Deputy Attorney General at the time. Did the DOJ and the FBI tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the FISA court? No.
When they go for a FISA warrant, they have to swear under oath that the facts they're presenting the judge are true. And I can't believe that the judge hasn't pulled them back already into court. They should all be held in contempt at very minimum for bringing false information to a judge.
Senior DOJ and FBI officials not only lied to the American people, but they lied to a FISA court repeatedly over a number of months about what they knew to be false information and inadequate information being provided to a very secret court.
That false information from the dossier, the heart of the government's case, was vital to getting the warrant. So said Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director of the FBI.
What is the major revelation that we discovered with Mr. McCabe? That is that without the dossier, then they would have never been able to go to the FISA court and get a warrant.
The case laid out in the Nunes memo was bolstered a few days later. That's when Senators Grassley and Graham issued a corroborating report after reviewing the FISA documents.
The Grassley-Graham memo and letter establishes beyond any doubt that the FBI knowingly deceived the FISA court about the information that it was presenting to them, lied to them about the fact that it was verified information, which it was not, which the law requires. And now we know that additional Clinton allies, including Sidney Blumenthal, were involved in the transmission of false information, unverified information, to the FBI through State Department officials. Somebody's going to have to go to prison.
The federal government presented phony evidence to obtain a Title I search warrant. It targeted Carter Page, a one-time Trump campaign volunteer suspected of being a Russian agent. The search warrant, issued after he left the campaign, snooped on his phone calls, internet communications, and more.
We know that anyone who was talking to Carter Page was likely picked up by authorities. This would mean that they would have congressional communications from our branch of government. They would have anybody that he was talking to in the White House.
And that was the hidden agenda of the search warrant, to be able to spy on others on Team Trump. Who is Carter Page? He's someone who has worked with the FBI in the past. He is a U.S. Naval Academy graduate, served 5 years, naval intelligence officer. He's given speeches in Russia where he's had business interests. But a Russian spy? Hardly.
I don't agree with Carter Page on very much, but the guy shouldn't have his emails or phone calls listened to and eavesdropped into.
The dossier was a smear job to ensure Hillary Clinton won the election. The spying was also their insurance policy in case Trump won. The surveillance, they figured, would turn up damaging information that would force him from office. This was an assault on the U.S. Constitution. It was designed to subvert the will of the American people. If this happened in another country, we'd call it a coup attempt.
I believe that several high FBI officials will be charged criminally, and it is conceivable that some DOJ people will also be charged criminally. At the time prior to the election and subsequent to the election, there were a group of people inside the FBI at the senior levels on the 7th floor who decided that they were going to protect Hillary Clinton, they were going to exonerate Hillary, and they were going to frame Donald Trump. I would consider this the largest law enforcement scandal in history for this reason. The activities of McCabe and others, and Bruce Orr and others, were designed to subvert the Constitution and a national election, the most serious offense under our Constitution.
Here is a list of the leading websites to stay up to date on this story. TheConservativeTreehouse.com is the most comprehensive. Other helpful sites include SarahACarter.com, DailyCaller.com, and TheGatewayPundit.com. This is John Spiropoulos reporting.